Okay, so first up is 17 Highview, PB number 17-43. They're here for preliminary, final.
Good evening, Dwight Joyce, 17 Highview. I went to the tech meeting last week, but tonight I was provided with more additional information from both the building and highway department as well as the code enforcement officer.
Is this your first time on one?
For this case, yes.
Yeah, why don't you tell them why you're here?
Okay. Thank you. I'm here because the building department believes that there's violations on the lot and that we're parking in areas which they felt that parking was not permitted. A different additional site plan has been developed to try to include additional parking. Appears from the comments from the highway department as well as from the county as well as from the town that some of the spaces don't comply with what they would want to see. I'm going to have to go back to the engineer and have it scaled back. I also see that the engineering department has comments regarding some of the details that they're looking for on the plan, as well as the highway department requested some modifications to the language on the site plan and some corrections.
So you're not ready for tonight then?
I'm not ready to go forward tonight. I'm going to ask to have it
So
continued.
you're gonna have to ask for a continuance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there anybody here that's here to listen to this? That has an interest in this case? No, okay. So I'm gonna read the correspondence into the record, and then you're gonna ask for a continuance, and you're gonna be on your way.
Okay. Would you rather can you just put it in total into the minutes or no?
I have to read them.
Okay.
Well,
very
I have to read who they are from, and then you'll see.
good. Well, I apologize.
Okay, so the PRC, okay, Cheryl? Okay, yeah. The PRC has no additional comments beyond the comments submitted by other agencies. From the Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning, from Rick Oliver, Acting Director. He has one comment with a whole bunch of sub-comments. From Bruce Peters, 2. Also, from Michael Bettman, the Chief Fire Inspector, I am not in favor of parking along the building on the southeast side. This may hamper fire truck access. You'll have to have that worked out before you come back to us.
Okay.
Rockland County Department of Planning has a disapprove. There's 10 reasons why. Rockland County Highway. De minimis impact upon the county highway system. And that is another, it's not really, it is our longstanding policy that all parking be contained on site in accordance to current town zoning code. All required parking should be provided and parking should be adequate for type of use. Should the town board be satisfied with the proposed parking configuration, then this department poses no objection to this site plan. No Rockland County Health approvals needed. Rockland County Sewer does not object to this board serving as lead agency. Request nothing further. Interoffice memo from James Dean. There's 2 comments. Again, you're gonna have to work this out with all of these departments before you come back to us.
Understood.
There's also a letter here, a memo from Rick Oliver, again, Acting Director. And then there's correspondence from the ZBA and the Rockland County Highway Department not objecting to this board serving as lead agencies.
I think that one, Kevin, is from Michael Atchison, the Assistant Building Inspector.
I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? Oh,
That
maybe
is
it's
correct.
to Rick?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's from, I'm sorry, it's from Michael Atchison to Rick Oliver.
and to the board.
Actually,
And
yeah, to the
basically,
board.
To the board.
okay, sorry about that again, I don't know why it's CC to Rick Oliver. I'll clean my glasses after I'm done. So it's basically a memorandum of what's happening on the site and why the violations were issued.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm not gonna take comments from you guys, right? No, not tonight. Get the stuff all cleared up, come back to us.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you have to ask for a formal continuance, please?
I thought I had started. Can I have a continuance to this matter until I get these matters straightened out with the
Rob.
respective agencies?
Just so we're clear, picking up on, I think Rick commented on, and also Bruce in his comment too, really need a proper site plan here. It's kind of, it doesn't really show what the board is looking for. And I know you're in justice court, You know, the things that are missing here are a result of the plan that's presented. So, you know, it's not the planning board is delaying this, it's you
I
guys have to
understand
come up
that.
with a good plan.
So I understand that, and
I don't want it blamed on the planning board that
some of the things that were mentioned at the TAC meeting, I have
it's
to go
holding
out.
up the justice court.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna verify in the field regarding some of the measurements, because I thought the measurements were different than actually what I see on the site plan, so. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's it for this one. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Next up is the Pearlmont Core site plan, sign location.
Raymond Amati, A-H-M-A-D-I. No, A-H-M-A-D-I.
So can you,
Oh, they have it, but thanks, I'll print it out.
can you state your name and your affiliation with the project, please?
My name is Raymond, last name Amati, A-H-M-A-D-I. My address is 227 South Mountain Road, New City, New York. I'm the owner of the property.
Okay, so, Rob, what's going on here?
I believe it's just on for final, right?
You went to the, you went to
You
Akabor?
had to go to Agabor.
Aquaboard, ZBA approval,
Okay,
site plan before.
Right,
Okay.
you got the preliminary and then.
so now he's here, just, everybody has said okay, and he's here for, just to wrap it up, right? Okay, the PRC has no additional comments. John Giardella, please refer to comments posted at the January 11, 2017 meeting. Bruce Peters, no additional comments.
Give me Rick Oliver. Rick Oliver.
Rockland County Planning has 3, but I'm assuming that New York State DOTs, or if they haven't responded by now, that's the end of that. And that Rockland County Drainage always responds, so whatever was there is there, and he already met the Akabor approvals. No health department approvals needed, that's all I have, Cheryl. Okay. Mr. Young?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Dell?
Yes, I believe the requirement of signs is 40 square feet, and a lot of them are quite a bit larger. I believe are a number of these directional signs, is that what they are?
Directional sign, no,
What are they? I don't quite understand.
sign for the business.
And they said you're allowed to have that much square footage?
Yes, I went in,
Okay,
I have 5 different businesses, yes.
Don't vote for it.
I have the site plan, and I have the tables, I show the square footage, the height, the size.
Yeah,
The, the.
okay. Mr. Bond?
I have no.
Mr. Mandel?
No, I see you remove signs 3 and 8, and sign number 1 is not gonna be rolling, it's gonna be static,
3,
correct?
3 and 8.
Yeah, and number 1 is gonna be static, not gonna be.
Static.
Static. It's gonna be
Stationary.
Stationary. It's not gonna
That's the,
roll.
what do you mean? No, it's nothing.
Okay, that's all I wanna make sure.
No, that's what they gave me.
Right, you got the ZBA approval already, okay, for the expanded signage. Thank you.
Okay, so is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this? Come on up, state your name and your address for the record, please. Because of the amount of items that are on the plan tonight, we're allowing people for 3 minutes.
My name is Jacqueline Cronin, and I live across the street from Pearlmont,
Can you tell us that address, please?
84 Grand Avenue.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, my major problem with Paramount is they've already got existing lights that shine in my bedroom windows, even with my blinds closed. There's constant cars with loud mufflers, music blaring away. And now I'm concerned that they're going to put some type of a sign up front that's going to be more lights. I don't know what I can do to prevent what's going on down there. That's really all I have to say. I mean, like I said, I'm concerned about more lights being there.
Okay, so.
Oh, the after-hour
You
cars.
can
and-
actually, you know what, just hold on for a second. you can get up there and speak to help her. You know, there's no, but you can't speak from the audience, okay? So I understand, but if you want to help her, you can get up there, it's fine.
Yeah. Now, the only thing I can suggest is additional signs, maybe by the vacuums, saying, please turn your car off, or required to turn your car off when you're cleaning the car, so that the radios aren't blaring away through the whole neighborhood. I don't know what they can do about the lights, where they can put them on a timer to turn them off at 10 o'clock at night. And it's, you know, I go to bed and 11, 12 o'clock, and the lights are still on, shining through my bedroom windows.
Okay, this has been through different boards, and basically, we're here just to say it's okay. Did you object to this at any of the other
I
board meetings?
didn't get them, I haven't gotten any other notice other than the one I got today. Or actually, I got it 3 days ago.
And, okay, well, I don't know what else we can ask them to do. He's been here, we've asked them to do everything that, and he's satisfied what we've said before. So it's very difficult for us to go back and tell him he has to make more changes. So, I mean, you can work it out with something with him on the side and say, you know, I don't know, but that's really where we're at right now. And I don't mean to be dismissive, but they've been through zoning, they've been through Akabor, and now they're back here. They've been to here once, and then they've been through all those boards, and now they're back again because they satisfied everybody's comments. And so this is tonight to come back to us and say, we've satisfied all the requests that you've made of me, and we would like to move forward with this. So,
What is the light in the front going to be with the more lights that I
Well-
understand they're doing?
go ahead.
With the lights, when they appeared before the zoning board, the lights must be turned off at 11 PM, and they can't be turned on
Well,
until
they're
8
not.
AM. Well, then they're in violation, and you can make a complaint to the buildings department.
Correct.
That's one of the conditions of their approval, is that they have to turn them off at 11 o'clock.
That's really it. If they're
So-
in
I guess
violation. go
one
ahead.
issue, if you don't mind me.
No, go right ahead.
I guess the question would be, is it lights from, like, for a parking area or security lights, or is it other lights?
They're on tall poles and they're very bright. They light up the whole
And are those
area.
the lights that have to be turned
No.
off at 11 o'clock?
No, that's the
No.
problem.
Yeah,
Um,
just
I don't know.
the night side, the light sides have to be turned off,
Yeah,
right?
the light signs.
Well, you might want to think about, if that's the case, then you might want to think about putting in motion sensor lights,
Yeah.
or even lights that dim, and then if somebody walks or a car drives close to them, then they light up. So that would be something that I would think about, but unfortunately, I can't make them do that at this point.
And there's nothing,
Well-
they can't put any other kind of signs, like I said, on the vacuum area, so that people would turn off the car. I mean, the new, you should have been at my house last night at 6:30 and listening to the music that the whole neighborhood could hear.
I understand. Can we make them,
Well,
as a part of the condition?
the other lights?
No, putting it more like, lawn signs that say you must turn off your car
When you're vacuuming.
when you're vacuuming or anything like that. Okay, so go ahead, Rick, tell me your thoughts.
Well, I think the way the code states is, you're allowed to light your area, but if your light is disturbing someone else at, and I don't know off the top of my head, but a certain luminance, then it would be a violation. So, you know, they have lights that have shields on them, that you can keep it on your side if they're on timers, anything like that, but after a certain hour,
Okay.
it needs to stay on the property.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. What's your name?
Jacqueline Cronin, my son Matthew.
How do you do?
Music would be a police issue.
Yes, okay, so that you have your right is to call the buildings department and say that they're in violation with these lights, and someone's gonna have to come out and check. So that would be your recourse.
I was at the building department the other day, and I did mention everything that I'm mentioning to you. They didn't say anything to me about making a complaint there.
Rob?
Well, in terms of, I mean, if you want to make it clear, and the applicant's willing to do it, perhaps you could put it in as a condition, since you're giving him these signs, which are additional lighting, that, you know, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have the
I mean, if
exact
I have the
lights.
ability to do it without it being a big issue, then I think that everybody's in agreement with that.
Right.
Okay, so then what?
I
can
mean,
we-
I don't know if Mr. Ramadi, you know, it sounds like he's amenable to it,
So how long do we give him to do it? 6 months?
Well, that, you know,
What additional light? Let
Okay,
me
so
show
I
you.
would
Why
ask
do you
that you,
ask-
I'd ask that you put motion sensors on your parking lot lights.
There are 18 motion sensors.
Well, then you better have them adjusted so that they either dim.
Now, they are always out, and only just if anybody comes in trespassing, the light goes on. There are 2 of them, and
well,
it
is
stays
it-
as.
what about cars going by on 304?
He happens to be on
Right.
304 and
That's-
Kendrick Road.
Now, what happened, these criminals, they have loud mufflers, and they come over there, and then if they cross the street, somebody called the police department, when it comes in, they are smart enough. They run to New Jersey, the police cannot go after them. I'm not the police here to take the guys that are violating the muffler.
We're not talking about the mufflers right now, we're talking about
The
the
light
lights.
too,
The
the same,
lights.
the light they are coming in, I have the,
Say that again? Okay, well then there's not much else that we can do.
What
There-
time do you operate until? What time do you close?
I close, operate 9 to 6.
6 PM? You close at 6 PM?
Yes.
Is there any way
And
he
you
can?
And
say
then the
cars go in
self-wash is open
They
till
cars-
11
yeah.
o'clock.
Oh, self-watch, so you're still open till 11?
Right, but those are even, they are on motion sensor. There are 2 lights in front of each bay, LED, and there are sensors on the top. When you come in and you pay, the motion sensor notice and put additional light. When you leave, they turn off.
Okay, well, again,
What about putting up signs to turn off the motor so that if the motor's off, they can't play the radio?
Well, unfortunately, you can play the radio. You can
Yeah,
just turn
but
the
if
key
you-
on, you can have the
we
radio
can?
on without the motor running.
Yeah, but most
And
people don't.
there's no regulation against that, against the
yeah, I can't
noise. If it's loud enough,
impose,
there is, but
we can't impose things that are not, we're not a court of law.
Yeah,
So, if they're in violation, if you feel that they're in violation, you're going to have to get your recourse through the buildings department. And if they're in a noise violation, you're gonna have to call the police. Unfortunately, that's where we're at.
Well, with respect to the noise issue, the light issue, you know, I
Yeah,
don't,
so the light issue, but he says he has motion sensors on the lights. So if the lights are off, I can't, if he has motion sensors on the lights, what else are we gonna do? I mean, turn the lights off at 11 o'clock?
no,
I mean,
the
if
problem
you wanted
is,
to address the concern, if you want to put it over and have the building department inspect it and take a look, and then have them come back in 2 weeks and make a determination as to,
They could still be on a timer,
Okay,
along with motion sensor, but the power cuts off at.
okay.
Yes,
we're gonna-
they are.
We're gonna ask that
Already
you,
they are.
At
Okay.
11.
okay,
At
Listen.
11 o'clock, right now, today, because it's summertime, 8 o'clock, the electricity goes to the base, and only just 2 lights, 2 LED light, very dim, turns on. Then, if you come in between and you pay, then the other 4 lights comes in. There are only just 20 watts LEDs. And then 11 o'clock, the timer automatically turns you off for next day.
okay. Well, it seems like,
I think there are people that they have the car radio, even if you go to the road, you see that they're boom buster, they're, blasting the whole world. I cannot control it.
Even just put up a sign, no radios after a certain time might help a little bit, just so she,
Well, I'm not there.
right, I understand.
If 9 o'clock somebody comes in and vacuuming his his car, and his door is open and his I don't know, the radio is on very loud in Spanish and yelling and shouting, and then somebody can call from the police department. The police department is in Central Ave, it's 2 blocks from me. They can come in, they have come in many times because I have access to the video at my office. They come in. The moment they come in, these smart people, they ran very loud to the New Jersey. The police cannot go there
okay, so,
unless you call both.
okay, I got it. We'll just say a couple of lawn signs to say, a couple of small signs around the property saying, no, what? I don't even know. No
well, if there's
radios?
a loud noise
Hold on, ma'am.
ordinance-
well, obviously, it's a busy area in any event, I
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
But I guess Rick is suggesting, you know, no radios, I don't know, after 9 PM or something, or after 6, whatever. To me, I mean, you certainly could add that and if he's willing to accept that, that's fine. My issue more is with the light, in terms that you have more really control over the light situation than the.
Well, it
somebody
seems like
playing
he's
radio.
got everything under control. If I would
Wow.
accept,
I haven't been there, I don't know.
I
He's
haven't been there
saying
at night, so I don't know. I don't go at night.
That's
I
what I'm
wash my
saying.
car during the day.
If you would
What
send,
do you wanna do?
If you send Mr. Oliver out there,
He's here for signage,
Right.
and this is now an operational issue with the neighbors.
I totally agree.
It's,
So if he's in violation, you're gonna have to call the buildings department and the police. That's it. I mean, it seems like if the lights aren't going off at night, then you're gonna have to call and let them know, and then the building department will go out, and if so, issue a violation.
Now, you have to understand, my house is the second house in. It's not even right on 304, and the lights are coming that far.
Okay. Well, that's
Maybe
really,
it's the way, the direction of the lights are facing.
again, you're gonna have to call the buildings department and have them go out and take a look at it. If you feel that they're in violation, you're gonna have to ask them to do it. That's all I can tell you. Okay? Okay. Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to address this? Seeing and hearing none, I need a motion to close the public portion. Mr. Bond makes the motion second. Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor?
aye,
And I need a motion for final,
motion.
with conditions. Mr. Mandel makes the motion. Rick Oliver's comments from January 11th. Rocket County Planning's 3. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hold on. I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Bond seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, next up, Griffin, PB number 17-45, Griffin site plan, Krieger subdivision, lot number 1.
Total 476
Can you just state your names and your affiliation with the project for the record, please?
Leo Sharetta, attorney for the applicant, Steve and Jen Griffin. I do not. SCIARRETTA. First name Lino.
Jennifer Griffin, owner.
Okay, so the way this works is you don't have drainage. Or
Correct.
do you?
We do.
Did I
We-
get something else? Yes. Okay. Sorry. Okay, the way this works is you have drainage. Okay. So go ahead, tell us what you're here for, and we'll continue.
Sure, thank you. My clients, Steve and Jen Griffin, own a property at 27 Sunrise Lane. They're looking to expand their single-family home. Jen is expecting in January, so it's their first child, so they're looking to make the place a little bigger. Right now, they're looking at a 1.5 story. They're looking to put on an attached garage to the building, second story, and also a front porch. What that is going to necessitate from us is we're going to need variances at the ZBA for a total side yard and a front yard. We're scheduled for the ZBA, I believe it's the 18th. And just to step back, just historically here, just by way of background, we were scheduled to go to the ZBA on July 5th. And then the day of the meeting, we were called by, I think, the building department saying, wait a minute, you can't go, you got to go to planning board. I guess get the secret determination because we didn't have drainage at that time. So we were told, we're off the ZBA, come to planning, get your prelim, secret neg deck to get us onto the ZBA. So we're hoping tonight for a negative declaration to get to the ZBA so we can be heard there. And then the ACOBA as I get to 19th. And then we're back here, hopefully, if all is well, for final.
Okay.
I-
Yeah, what are they here for?
no, this is.
That's what I heard.
No, it's.
I'm new to the party.
Yeah, Mr. Charette is new. This is the one that was a
not that new.
a subdivision between this lot and the other lot.
Right.
And as a condition of that subdivision
They had to
approval,
come here for building.
They had to come here for
Yes.
any site plan on this lot or the other lot.
Right, okay.
The other lot is the one that really has more issues because of the water course.
Right,
So that's why the condition of subdivision
Okay.
approval was, if they come for anything, they gotta come back here.
that's what the issue
And
was.
if I'm not mistaken, when the subdivision was done, there was no drainage, I guess it was done per lot? so
Well,
that's-
We don't require the drainage of the subdivision, only if you're gonna start to build on it.
Okay.
Right, well, and that was more with respect to lot two. Lot
Exactly.
one was remaining the same, the house, the building was remaining the same. So we were okay, the board was okay putting that line on, subject to it coming back for site plan if there were any changes on this, or when they come to build on lot two.
There wasn't a
Lot
total-
lot two's got an easement issue also. Drainage, is there a drainage easement?
I think that was the water course, the drainage ditch.
Yes.
This is where the rocks were going in, the guys were like, the neighbors were like, they should come back and,
Yes.
okay. It's not on this piece.
Right, this is just for lot one.
Okay, so, did you review these, comments?
We did, and we are accepting
Wait for me.
comments.
One question at a time. You reviewed them?
I did.
Okay. So, Cheryl, I see nothing for planning, county planning,
DML.
so they don't care. Okay, so,
We do have, which I'll hand out, we received from the Division of Environmental Health, not planning, September 12th, 2017 letter regarding the mosquito control. I know we have 10 copies of revised site plan, but I have it as well.
okay, so I read the comments. I don't read all of the technical stuff. You want to see what that is, he has it, and anybody in the audience that wants to see the technical stuff, they're in the back. Okay, so the PRC has no additional comments. From Rick Oliver, Acting Director. Okay, so everything here, there's 5 comments and everything seems to be pretty normal. From Bruce Peters. Okay, so number 3 is the perk test. Okay, you're gonna have to do a perk test before you come back for final.
No.
Huh? Says it, from Bruce.
Before it comes back from final?
Says before he comes back to final, this shall be done prior to this proposal receiving final approval.
That's on,
What do you want him to do?
isn't that unusual? I know before we sign the map,
Well, it's saying,
before we do the.
it's saying it's not till spring that,
But you have to get a,
Oh, yes, okay, so we'll tell him that,
I mean, that,
and then if there's any issues, he has to come back. Is that the way we're gonna do it? Hello?
well, it's up to you. I mean, you know,
You guys
if
all
you
right
want to
with that?
accept that, or,
I'm, okay. I mean,
What do you want him to do?
it's an addition to the house. I mean,
What do you want him to do?
and the garage.
When? That's right, so what if we make it a condition that if he doesn't fail, if he fails the perk test, he has to come back?
By then they'll finish the house.
Okay, you do what you wanna do. I'm not holding it up because, you know. Okay, so there's 7 from Bruce Peters. The letter from Brooker, there are 4 comments, and it says sufficient information and details have been provided to demonstrate that there are no potential significant impacts with respect to drainage that require mitigation. We therefore recommend that the cardiovascular, am I reading the right one?
No.
Sorry.
You're close, though.
Sorry. I caught myself, yes, okay, so, September 13, Griffin, he actually has 13 comments. And additional detail and drainage calculations have been provided to demonstrate the potential significant impact with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Griffin site plan application be approved for drainage, subject to the above project comments, and as mentioned, there are 13. Rockland County Health. You have to do the mosquito control, which you mentioned. Rockland County Sewer, nothing. And then correspondence from the zoning board not objecting to this agency serving as lead agency, this board serving as lead agency. That's all I have, Cheryl. Okay,
Just one comment, Mr. Chairman, the perk test, we wanted to make sure was for this application, correct? Because I know there was we were reading off the wrong comment, was
No, no, I
definitely-
wasn't reading off
It
the
was
comment.
definitely for this one, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Young?
I had some concerns, but it had to do with Lot 2 and that easement. The perk test, I'm not overly thrilled about it, but I could let it slide this one, you know. So it's a nice piece of property, and you've prepped the house very well for the next step. I saw that last night. I have no other questions or concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Mr. Dell?
I concur with Mr. Young about the perk test. I think that can be straightened out. The one area where I have a little bit of trouble with is the proposed driveway. Making just a cursory examination, it appears to have about a 25 to 30% slope. And I believe the maximum is 15, is it not, or is that changed?
10%.
What's the maximum slope for a driveway? Well, it's about 20 or 30. If you could take a look at it. The reason why I'm mentioning it now is I wouldn't want to see them be in a position where they get to the end and all of a sudden there's a problem. It may mean actually having to raise the level of the garage, I don't know. But you take a look at it, and if the building department is happy with it, because Mr. Peters asked that the grading for the new driveway be included, but it just shows it just running as is.
The slope is 6%, and we're
Where, I'm sorry, you have
We
a
have an amend-
distance of 35 feet, and you have it going from 150 down to about 142. So I think that's a little more than 6%. I don't know how you got that figure.
I'm reading what's on the site plan.
I know, but if you read look at the grades, that's the question, sir. Because you may put the applicant in a situation where they're all good to go and everything is put in, and all of a sudden they're saying, hey, your driveway's illegal, and that wouldn't be fair to them.
That's actually a condition of Brooker Engineering, so to say.
Saying what?
Well, it says it's significantly greater than 2% listed as a driveway entrance to Sunset.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the entire length of the
Right,
driveway.
but he's commenting in the entire range.
I think this may need to be, re-examined. And I believe you could do it by raising the height. Have you done a calculation, sir, on that, or looked at
We
it?
can raise it.
Can you see the plan? You see what I'm
Yep.
talking about?
Yep.
Can you see there's approximately about 8 foot of grade over a distance of about maybe 35, maybe even 40 feet if you stretch
Yeah, I
it?
don't know the length, but yeah, it's about 7 feet.
7, 8 feet, yeah, that's not,
Right.
that's
Pretty
beyond the allowable limits.
Yeah, we could raise it.
Well, I don't know how you're going to do that. You may have to raise actually the level of the garage.
You can't come back, you can't, you're gonna have to,
There is no garage there right now.
I know that, but if you want to put one in and to be able to use it, you may have to do that. And it's just as well as you discover that fact now, rather than unfortunately when you go for your final, and then you're denied.
And that's something just, we could definitely, I mean, we appreciate that, and we'll look at that, but again, I guess for tonight's purposes, we'll take that back. Again, when we go to ZBA.
well, it has to be, we can ask them to make sure it's
Addressed in
looked at
final.
before he comes to final.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not gonna-
Absolutely.
If it's not addressed before final, we're not gonna give you final,
Understood.
okay? That's
Okay.
really what it comes down to, and my suggestion is, it's addressed before you get to ZBA.
Yes, bring it to
And,
your
or
professional.
whoever's first, ZBA first?
Yeah,
So
ZBA's
before
on.
you get to ZBA, and then absolutely before Akabor, so that they can see all the plans. Okay, Mr. Bond?
My question is on the perk.
So what is your question? Go
I
ahead.
mean, why don't I don't see why they just can't do it now. And I'm not in favor of them waiting till the spring to do this. I mean, it's not that big of a project, where they should have to.
Right, no, I don't think anybody's holding it up.
I agree.
All right, I mean, they
That's
should
a-
be able to go do that in the next couple of weeks.
You're gonna have to get the perk test done,
Get the results
come
back
back.
to us before you come back for the final,
Otherwise,
They have to go to
there's
ZBA,
people,
don't even get
you
preliminary.
could be
tonight
waiting, you could be waiting until the spring. You don't wanna do that.
No, we don't, because again, we'd like to
Okay.
get it done.
So find somebody to do the perk test
ASAP.
for you. Okay? Mr. Bond, you done?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Bruce Peters, number one, you have on drainage calculations, you're gonna have a licensed engineer sign off on the proposed dry wells, because I think Brooker states that it doesn't seem that the dry wells will hold, the overall system only stores about 1.5 inches of rainfall over the new impervious area, which is lower than that typically provided. That's one thing, an engineer. Now, the second, Brooker engineering report doesn't ask for a engineer's report or whatever, but they do ask for details regarding the retaining walls, and that should be added to the plan, which I don't see on the plan. So, as I was over there again today, I've been on that property a few times, and will that retaining wall hold it all? You know, where is the drainage from it, the type of wall to be built? Because it is a deep, that thing goes down. The slope is quite high from the front to the back of the house. So the retaining walls on the, both sides of the house, gotta be detailed on the plan. Plus you need the engineer's statement on the dry wells to start with. Just a couple of comments I have, because if not, they'll be run off onto the neighbor's property. And as Bruce Peters said, it needs more details and slope on that driveway. And the trenches also. So you have a trench drain running to the dry wells, you apparently have the gutters running to the dry wells, there's only 2 dry wells. So I think you need a drainage report from an engineer that says, will it all hold? Because even Brooker questions it.
But yet he approved it, right?
But they gave you the approval with 13
He
conditions.
approved it with 13 conditions, right?
Yeah, Brooker was provided with the calculations, which you don't have to submit.
Right, he had,
Who did the calculations?
The Kadansky,
And are they signed and sealed?
yes, they are.
Okay.
Well, we don't have it.
We don't get them.
we don't get it, we never get that, we never get that.
The sign is sealed from the, we give, they
But
go
it
right to
should-
Brooker.
Should say somewhere that it is, because Brooker still
Well,
has the
well,
questions.
Well, okay. Well, they have to satisfy Brooker's things before they get final. I mean, before they get the
Right,
stamp.
and he gave a revised one on the 13th.
Do you have, are you looking at this one? The new one?
Yeah, I'm looking at the new one. And number 10 says there are several discrepancies between
No,
the
that-
drywall calculations and the detailed site plan that should be corrected. You know?
Okay.
So they're gonna be corrected before it, are we gonna get reports on it, are we gonna get a complete site plan that shows the slope of the driveway? That's my questions on it.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Mandel?
No, not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak to this? I see none and I hear none, so I need a motion to close the public portion.
I'll make a motion. to close
Mr.
the
Bond makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, would we okay putting this in for preliminary and then having them come back with all?
Yeah.
Okay, so just so we all know, they're not gonna, they don't have to come back to us for final with all of these conditions met. They have to come back, they can't get, the plans stamped until all these conditions are met from Brooker. Okay, so, I mean, I don't, this is, we've been doing this, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, but if they start building it, and you find out that the dry wells are not gonna hold it, whether they're gonna go back again, now we have more dry
Well,
wells.
that's up to them. If they're in violation, that's there. That's not for, we're not gonna, you know.
We
we're
have
not-
somebody else come back tonight because they were gonna put in a certain thing, and they can't because the perk test showed they couldn't go
The
down.
perk test is one something else. That's something completely
But
different.
still.
We're asking them to come back with the perk test before they get fined. I understand that, but I'm not gonna make them come back, for final until all of these conditions are met. We never do that.
No, but I'm saying with the drainage, that should be done. There are people that are bordering that. If the water is running off there because of the new impervious surface that the garage is gonna create in that, we have a duty to
I think if I could
protect them.
chime in, yeah, I
Yes.
think if they come back with the driveway, more detail
Yes.
and a change in the driveway and perhaps a change with respect to the garage and the perk test, you know, that will take out a lot of the, or a few of the conditions of Brooker,
Correct.
you know, and so that, at least those should be addressed certainly before final. And then if they have the standard 3 or 4 remaining, that's more typical than the amount that they have
So
now.
just so that they are aware, so should they, once they get the perk test, they have to send it to Brooker? Or have your engineer send it to Brooker?
Right, I think all of that, you know, they'll need to speak to the engineer, the perk test, and frankly, I think the driveway issue really
Of course, yes.
Should go back.
is
Should he-
driving
Should go
everything
back.
here, no pun intended, yeah.
Right. Okay? Okay? Okay. So, I need a motion for lead
Lead
agency.
I'll make a motion for lead agency.
Mr. Bond makes the motion for lead agency, I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Young seconds, all in favor?
All right,
Okay. And now I need a motion for neg deck.
I'll make a motion for neg deck.
Mr. Bond makes the motion for neg deck. Second?
Second.
Mr. Young seconds, all in favor? Okay, so now I need a motion for preliminary with conditions.
I'll make a motion for preliminary with
Mr.
conditions.
Bond makes the motion for preliminary. So we have Mr. Oliver's 5. We have Bruce Peters 7, including the perk test. Okay?
And 5, he also comments on the driveway, so.
Yes, and the driveway, right, but I'm just saying, okay? Are we,
Understood.
that's the word I want to hear. And then we have
And
Brooker's.
we're gonna knock the spring out, right? It's gonna be, he's gonna do the spring test currently, right? In the fall, so it should say fall, not
We're
spring.
gonna say that if you do it right now, I
Right,
mean, there's
yeah.
enough rain coming down, right, Mr.
Some-
Mandel?
yeah, there's
Yeah.
enough coming
There's
down,
enough
it's
water
done
coming
now.
down,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can do the
okay.
perk test. We're not gonna make you do it in December. Okay, Brooker Engineering has got 13. Rock County Environmental Health with their mosquito, right? Yes, with their mosquito code. Rock County, no, that's it, that's all I have, Cheryl. That's all I have. Okay, so I need a second
The prelim.
with conditions, a second.
Yeah,
So just a second.
Second.
Mr. Young seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against?
That's unless we include Bruce Peters' one regarding the calculations for the dry wells, that they're gonna hold the water running off. That's his number 1. If that's included with it, then I will vote for preliminary now.
Okay, well, you know what we're gonna say? We're gonna let you have the no, because,
Well,
We didn't eliminate that.
I think they may have that, but I think.
yeah, but that's what I mean.
But to have it before final, my suggestion would be leave it in, and
Yeah.
then they'll have it.
You got it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
All
kinda
right.
like it's kinda double dipping. I mean, I don't
Okay,
like,
I'm just,
I
all
don't
right,
think
I
it's
don't,
rude, but I kinda think it is.
And the only thing I would suggest is,
Make sure you know, the other thing is, and I know it costs a little bit of money, you should have the engineer here, okay? If the engineer did your calcs for, pay him the extra day to come to come. And then if there's any questions here, you can answer. It's the best thing to do.
and just to
Okay,
be clear, you
There seems to be a
make,
little bit of issues with your, okay? So did your engineer do everything? Did you have an engineer for civil and site, or just civil? One or two engineers? One. Okay. When you're coming back, have them come, please, and it doesn't take that much.
and just to be clear, we should ask Cheryl that, make sure that Brooker gets this for review, and obviously Bruce does, but.
Right, it has to be, before it comes back to us for final, Brooker has to review their final, their changes. Okay?
And we have 10 copies of the revised site plan, so can we give that to you this evening? Or can we
No,
You're
you
gonna
don't need it
revise it
tonight,
again.
you're gonna have to revise it again.
revise it? Okay,
You're gonna revise it again.
right, okay.
Full detail in the driveway, right?
Okay?
Yeah, we'll do that, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Next up, PB number 17-46, Cardiovascular Research Foundation Site Plan. This is for final. How you doing? Can you state your name and your affiliation with the project for the record, please?
Yes, Joseph Montana, builder. Hugh Linehan, Director of Operations. Linneneham.
Okay. Okay, so what's up?
Okay, so we were here in July on the 26th, and at that time, the planning board discussed and suggested giving us final approval. However, we hadn't advertised for that, so you were advised not to give that to us. So we're back here again, and the only thing that's changed is how we're handling the stormwater,
Right?
because we did do some test pits in order to do perk tests, but we hit ground rock, so didn't even do those perk tests. So we've now substituted the subsurface system with a rain garden, which has been submitted.
Okay, so if it's been submitted, then why is Mr. Oliver asking for a rain garden? Or are you suggesting it, or are you saying that he suggested it?
It was suggested at the meeting.
It was suggested by myself and Bruce Peters, actually.
And you're amenable to it?
Yes, we are. We've actually designed it, and that design
Okay,
has
so
been
then,
submitted.
again,
Well, it was, that meeting was on the 7th, and this came through the next day,
Oh.
correct?
That's correct. It
Okay,
was,
sorry.
yeah.
Understood. I didn't think the wheels turned that fast. Okay. That it?
That's it.
All right. PRC has no additional comments. It says that drainage issues need to be resolved and a rain garden suggested, which I understand has been taken care of. But this letter is from today. That's why I asked. If the rain garden's been suggested and everything's okay with it, the letter is dated today.
I just saw this letter. I just read the,
So I was right.
That letter just came from Brooker Engineering, correct?
No, this is from.
Okay, it's, you're putting a rain garden and you designed it, everything's A-okay, okay? Okay. Bruce Peters has 5. Brooker Engineering. We therefore recommend that the cardiovascular research facility site plan application be approved for drainage subject to the above 2 conditions. Rockland County Planning. You have 2. One is the mosquito code, I'm sure you met it, or you're gonna meet it.
Yes.
Rockland County Highway. You'll need a permit,
No, they've actually taken that back. We do not need a permit from them.
okay? I don't have a, do I
There's
have a letter that says
There-
they're taking
Yeah,
it
there is a
back?
letter to that effect. Yes, there is.
Where is it?
Well, if they need it, we're done with it.
Okay. Well, I don't wanna put it, if there's no, is there a letter that says you don't need it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That says they don't need it?
Here's the letter.
Okay, so it says on August 25th, the department will not,
Will not be required.
okay, will not be required. Thank you.
It's the-
Maybe I was reading it wrong.
Number 2.
Okay, so you don't have, there's no conditions. That's what I was trying to get to. And then the correspondence from the DEC, sorry. That's all I have, Cheryl. Okay. Mr. Young?
no comments.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Mr. Dell?
No comments.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Bond? Thank you, Mr. Bond. Mr. Mandel?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this? I see none and I hear none. I need a motion to close the public portion. Thank you, Mr. Bond. I need a second. Mr. Mandel, thank you. All in favor? I need a motion for final with conditions. Mr. Bond makes a motion for final with conditions. Bruce Peters, 5. Brookers, 2. Rockland County Planning, 2. Rockland County Health's 1. That's it. Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Mandel, seconds. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
What are we doing? Oh. Oh, you're coming to talk to me. Every time you do that, I think you're gonna come and talk to me.
Just do some housekeeping, just some housekeeping.
Just housekeeping, yes, understood. Okay, where's my?
That's a good idea.
Okay, so, what is this the sign?
Yeah, right, do.
Did you go to Akabor with the sign?
Yes.
Did we see where you were putting this sign before?
Yes.
Then take that thing down.
Yes.
Is there anybody here that wishes to see this from a, so that I'm not accused of, This is Brightview. They've been here a number of times, and this is about the sign. Is anybody here for this? Because I'll make them put the sign back up. Come on, you know the rules.
I do.
Okay? There's 20 things on this agenda. Mr. Brenner, please sign in and state your name and affiliation for the project for the record.
Donald Brenner, attorney for Brightview.
Diego Villarreal, JMC, our engineers.
Mr. Brenner,
As you well know, this is for the location of the Brightview sign, which will inform the public as to where this facility is being built. So everybody knows, we've gone to Rockland County, we have a permit from Rockland County to install a sign and install the sign at the location we want. And you'll see we've been to Akabor.
okay.
Well,
That-
county planning's recommending disapproval.
Okay?
I know, that's why, well, they always do that. We're requesting that it be overridden.
Well, they don't always do it, but why is highway saying,
Well, they always do that in terms of a sign.
no, but you're saying you have a highway permit, now they're saying,
We have it. In fact, if you take a look at the letters, the highway department has told us, just make sure that you find out where the pipes are.
it
And
says,
they,
well, we pose no objection. We are concerned with the exact location where it can be constructed without interfering with existing underground structures.
as you well know, there are several pipes, electronic pipes and everything else in that area. But we have a permit from Rockland County Highway to install it.
Okay, PRC has no additional comments. Mr. Oliver has 3. Mr. Peters has 3. I don't, okay.
You know, I think we are gonna need to see it. Is it in the
Yeah,
designated
you
street
think you
line?
better put that thing back up there, is right. Something that was supposed to be so easy.
Could you point out the location of the sign on there?
This is the overall site plan for the property. This is Orangeburg Road here, Hunt Road. The sign is proposed to be located on the corner of Orangeburg Road and Hunt Road. Again, this is the property line. As you can see, it's set back a great distance, it's about 150 feet from the actual intersection itself, just the way the property is situated. When they refer to that designated street line, through the conversations that we had with them, our understanding is that's 25 feet set back from the white line that's painted along Orangeburg Road, and we are proposing to be set back at least that distance. It might end up being even a little bit more, based on the final location that it gets situated. And then as far as the utilities in that area, we have worked to try to mark out those utilities, and we do have some ability to shift that sign slightly and modify the footings and foundations if needed to avoid whatever is out there. But we avoided, there's a communications box, there's some other
Yeah, okay,
communications
but the
lines.
story is that I think, that's fine. You can have a little bit of leeway, but if you're moving the thing 25 feet.
We'll have to
coming
come back,
here-
understood, completely.
Is that okay? Okay, so Mr. Oliver has his 3, Bruce Peter has his 3.
Do you have the actual permit?
Yes,
You have it here?
I thought I did, but I gave you the actual permit when we got it, but I'll give it to you tomorrow morning. We have the actual permit.
I don't know.
I sent it to him.
So you're saying that you've met the county planning's condition about, the site plan must show that the designated street line for the county highway and illustrate that the sign is located outside of it?
Correct, yes.
So we're gonna have to override the county planning.
I think it would be, no matter
ahead.
what, I mean, reading County Highway's prior comments, it doesn't appear that they're not objecting, that they're commenting on it being in their right-of-way. I don't see that the permit was issued, but we can make a condition upon the county. Obviously, if the county doesn't approve it or permit them to build it there, it can't be built there.
Right.
You shouldn't be getting approval unless the county has already said they can build it there.
Here's the highway permit, I do have it.
So Rockland County Highway has two. No Rockland County Health Department needed, that's all I have, Cheryl. Rob, so what, and the ACA board decision that says yay. You got the permit,
Yes.
This
Rob?
is- Hold on, this is the application. Just want to make sure it's approved. Does say approved. May
Okay.
15th,
So,
2017, it was approved.
Thank you.
It says setback, must be set back 23 feet from the travel way.
That's correct.
Which we agreed to comply with. And that's the dimension shown on the plan as
I'm
well.
okay with it proceeding based on that they've already gotten the approval, but obviously it's subject to county highway ultimately approving it.
okay. So, I need a motion for final with conditions. I'm sorry, is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this? Seeing none, hearing none, I need a motion to close the public portion. Mr. Bond makes the motion. Mr. Mandel seconds, all in favor? Aye. So now I need a motion for final with conditions. Mr. Young makes the motion. We have, Mr. Oliver's 3. We have Mr. Peters 3. And I need a motion to override, the Rockland County Department of Planning. They're 1. Mr. Bond makes the motion, I need a second. Mr. Young seconds, all in favor? Aye. And that's because they met the conditions of the Highway Department, and also they met the condition that's in number 1 already, so, you know.
Okay.
Rockland County Department of Highways, there too. And that's all I have, Cheryl. Okay? I need a second. Mr. Mandel seconds, all in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, next up is 115 New York Route 303 site plan.
I think the owner's here.
Who's here for that?
I am the, and I believe the owner's here.
Brian Donahue?
You're here for final?
Yes, we are.
So tell me what's going on here, and why
Okay.
has Rockland County Planning disapproved the application?
Because they don't read it. I'm sorry to say, there is no outside work being done here. They keep asking us to do A, B, C, D, and D, and this is only for a sign and for a ramp that's being done for a handicap situation. And all the things they're requiring is not needed because we're not doing any outside site work.
Okay,
No, that may be the wrong one. I have one, just let's make sure. Dated September 11th from County Planning, just recommends modifications.
okay, well, I'm reading what Mr. Oliver is saying
Yeah, I
in
think
his
he-
letter.
I might be out.
This is incorrect.
Okay, so I'm sorry about that, let me, start over, then we'll go to,
Remove that.
we'll go to Mr. Oliver's and we'll just do 2, 3, and 4. We'll forget about number 1 for now. Mr. Peters has 1. The applicant still needs to comply with PB decision number 16-69. Conditions 10, ownership and facilities inside easements, and 11, show existing sanitary building connection on the site plan. What say ye?
No problem.
Brooker? The project will result in no significant adverse impact with respect to drainage. We therefore recommend that 115 Route 303 site plan be approved for drainage, subject to the above 4 conditions.
No problem.
Rockland County Planning. 13.
Might want to just comment on 9 and 10.
9, the site plan notes states that 54 parking spaces are provided, but only 45 spaces are shown on the site plan. The number of provided parking spaces must be clarified and the site plan corrected. Number 10, the site plan note states that 311 parking spaces are required. However, the calculation appears to be for a laboratory or research facility use. There is no information regarding the required parking for the proposed self-storage facility. This information must be provided, and if necessary, a variance for parking must be obtained.
Okay. We're not changing anything. Whatever the parking's there is what we're using. Whatever the parking there was approved by prior boards for the building. That's all we're doing there is putting in a storage facility in and nothing more. The changes are gonna be primarily internal. We're keeping the outside exactly where it is with the amount of parking spaces which were approved by the town of Orangetown at a prior time.
Well, then there's a discrepancy in the plan and what's shown on the plan and what's stated is shown on the plan.
It appears that they're saying that what's shown on the plan and what was counted may be different. You know, over the years, some of the markings may have been taken away, so we'll have to take a look at it and see what's there. But we are not changing anything on that site. And in fact, at one time, I think there was some parking on the southern part of the boundary, and we took that away because we wanted no disturbance along the southern part of the building. I mean, like, they're asking for a permit for a drainage agency, not necessary. They're asking for, things that are Army Corps of Engineers, not necessary. They're asking for a DE's thing, not necessary. We are making no changes outside.
Well, these are gonna be conditions, so what do you?
So what are you looking for?
Well,
Those,
after the other-
override them?
Yes,
So which
please.
ones? You didn't say anything, Mr.
Okay,
Brenner.
I'm
Let's go.
sorry,
I mean, this
okay.
is not the first time at the dance.
Okay.
Which numbers?
Number 3 is not necessary.
Okay, wait a
Number
minute.
5
It's,
is-
wait a minute, wait a minute.
No, leave it in.
It's in there. It doesn't, because they already did it. So I'm not taking it out. What else?
Okay, fine. Number 5 is not necessary.
Okay, we
Number-
send it to the, wait a minute. Cheryl, did we send it to Army Corps of Engineers? Yes. Did they respond? No. No, then we're leaving that in. What's next?
Number 6 is not necessary.
We sent it to the DEC. They didn't respond. What's next?
Number 7, I don't know what we're gonna do with number 7, because we're not making any changes outside, and we no longer have a floodplain administrator.
What do we say, but then we override number 7?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily override that. We could leave it in and then that, it has to be in compliance with floodplain regulations. I
But what
mean,
is he certifying? We're not changing anything. If we change something, I could see a certification, we are not changing
What
anything.
are you putting in?
He's taking the existing building and he's making it for, renting it out for, modules for people to store material. No,
What's the
out-
construction?
no outside changes.
The ramp?
It was a handicap ramp, which was less than 300 square feet, and you'll see from the drainage, they don't have a problem with that.
We don't want to take that out.
7? Okay, what else, Mr. Brenner?
Again, we were talking about the parking
Okay,
situation.
so number 9?
That's correct, and number 10.
Well, I think those, you can clarify them.
Well, we will clarify it.
So I don't have to take them out?
No, fix
Okay.
it.
Number 12 is not applicable. They always put that in, and they don't realize our code only requires that for commercial, not for, only for residential, not for commercial. Even though we're not doing anything, it's just, they just put notes in when they don't realize what's taking place. And number 13,
I don't care about 13. We're satisfied.
okay. That's it.
So the only one would be 7.
7, okay. All right, and Bruce Peters, sorry, Michael Bettman's 6.
Has to be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it, Cheryl. Okay. So, Mr. Young.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Mr. Dell?
I have nothing to add at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Bond? Thank you, Mr. Bond. Mr. Mandel?
No comments at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this? Come on up to the microphone. State your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is Matthew Giuliano. I live at 283 Kings Highway in Tappan. Giuliano.
Okay, Mr. Giuliano, just so you know, you address the board. If you have questions, we'll have the applicant answer the questions after you're done. I'm giving you 3 minutes because we have something on the agenda that's gonna take us a lot of the night.
Not a problem. It'll be quick.
okay?
I've
So you have
attended,
3 minutes.
very good.
Thank you.
I've attended a few meetings concerning this. The last meeting I attended, there was an issue with the sign out front, that they hadn't presented a sign to the planning board that was approved. They had multiple signs, a suggestion of what the sign would look like, but I've not seen the final product of what the sign on 303 would look like. I wonder if the board has. And the lighting situation, again, at a previous meeting, it was agreed that there would be some kind of a lighting scheme, that the lights would be bright, and then at a certain hour they would dim. I just want to make sure that that has been approved, and that's part of their plans, and that's been agreed upon. And basically, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Charles, did they get the variance?
We have variance, we had Akabor approval for the sign, and we put a regulation there that when the signs, when the lights would go on and when the lights would go off.
Okay, so do you want to share that with the neighbor who's asking the questions? Because I don't have the answers.
What's the question? What is the question? The sign has been approved by Akabor. It is a 2 poles with a cross.
It has lights on it? Is it illuminated?
Yes. Yes, it
And
is.
what time does the sign go, illuminated how long? Does it go off at night?
Other than security lighting, everything goes off at 11 o'clock.
At 11 o'clock.
I have no problem with the sign on 303. It's the parking lot signage and a cut sheet specifically of the lighting, which they didn't have at the time when it was presented.
They had a site lighting plan.
There's a site
But not a
lighting,
cut sheet for the actual fixture itself.
the cut sheet of the lighting, the light itself?
Correct. The height was given to us at 12 feet. I was assured it would be the type of light.
It could be downlight.
It would be a downlight, correct.
That's a town code, right?
No, we agreed to downlighting.
You can look at the site plan, you can look at the lighting plan. Okay?
If it's
I'm
on the
not- I
plan,
don't-
that's fine.
We
I
don't
could look at the
typically
plan.
ask them to provide cut sheets, but you can see,
No,
okay?
I'm not asking for a cut sheet. I just want to make sure that the board has
Somebody said cut
approved
sheet.
the type of lighting,
Yes,
the hours of operation
yes.
of the lighting, and that a sign that was presented as an accurate depiction of what will be installed was
Okay,
approved by the board.
okay.
Because that was not the case at the last meeting I was
Okay,
at.
well, Akabor approved it,
We don't approve it, it's Akabor approves it.
right.
Fair enough.
If we have a problem with it, we can deny it, but if the Akabor approves it, we usually say, okay.
Fair enough.
At a preliminary, this board said that the site plan was only for the construction of the handicap ramp, the pylon sign location, and signage location on the building.
Right.
Everything else was gonna be handled by the Akabor, so they've seen it, whatever, presumably,
The
what
board
they've
wants-
seen is what
the board wants to see the sign now.
ultimately will be there.
Presumably being
it's a
the
good look
key
at-
word.
Well, that's why,
That's why I'm here.
right, understood. When it comes in for approval, and to get the map signed, it'll have to be the exact way it was approved by Akabor.
I just want to make sure this isn't being pushed through without all the proper approvals.
No.
Because I saw 4 different depictions of the sign that would be in front.
Where is it? You have what it's gonna look
I
like
do
now?
have the sign.
So why don't you show
We
Mr.
did
Julian?
present, we did present the sign 4 different, and this is the one that Akabor approved.
I have no objection.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so I see nobody else in the audience that
Thank you.
wants to speak to this application.
Akabor?
They should have just showed the damn sign, we gotta, sorry. Jesus. Sorry. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mandel. Second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh. I think we have to figure out what to call, what the sign, what do you want? Oh, you just want to see the sign? Okay, here you go. All right, second, Mr. Bond seconds, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so I need a motion for final with conditions. Okay, so we have Mr. Oliver's 2, 3, and 4. We have Bruce's number 1. We have Brooker's 4. We have Rockland County Planning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
I'll make a motion to override.
and we need a motion. Mr. Bond makes a motion to override number 7. All in favor, second? Mr. Mandel seconds, all in favor? Aye. What are we saying?
The additional construction is just the handicap ramp, and was there another ramp?
There's a loading ramp in the rear.
And the loading ramp in the rear, which is not
Right.
significant. It's an
Not
existing
significant,
building.
not enough significant impact to require what they're looking for. Bruce, sorry, I keep on saying that. Michael Bettman's 6. That's all. Cheryl, is that all right? Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Young seconds, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna take like a 2-minute break, and then we're gonna move on to Paragon. Don't go anywhere, because I'm just going to the bathroom and then I'm coming back. Just tell everybody who you are and what your affiliation with the project is. I'm sorry, this is Paragon Motors, PB number 17-01. They are here for pre-preliminary for their site plan, and they're here for, what else? Re-subdivision, right, and site plan, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes. Good evening, Adam Curlin, the attorney for Bradley Corporate Park.
Bart Rohde, engineer for Bradley Corporate Park.
And Dan Mellon here for Bradley Corporate Park.
Okay, so what's the story?
Well, good evening. We're here on the continued application for Bradley Corporate Park, seeking approval for the construction of an approximate 30,000 square foot building to be used as a new vehicle prep center for one of Bradley's tenants, Paragon Motors. It's an existing tenant. They need the space due to their expanding operations. In conjunction with that, we're also seeking use of a 10 plus or minus acre area to be used as a vehicle storage area, as an accessory use to the prep center. This same use was approved previously for another tenant at Bradley, Prestige Motors, for both the prep center and the storage as an accessory use. There were some issues raised at the last meeting with respect to screening and lighting. We're certainly prepared to satisfactorily address those issues, whether be it through this process or Acabar, but we're going to be installing 6-foot-high berms with staggered rows of evergreens. We're going to be installing a fence around the property, which is exactly what we did for Prestige. There will be gates installed, and there will also be a lock gate, which was of some prominence at the last meeting with respect to the emergency access at Lever Road. The hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 6:30, again, just like the approved Prestige Motors. We recognize that there are comments from Brooker, and we are prepared in short order to submit to the board a SWIP. I think it can be finalized within the next 2 or so weeks. We also recognize that Brooker had comments with respect to the site plan itself, and likewise, we're prepared to submit amended plans that satisfy those conditions. We believe that those will satisfy all of Brooker's comments.
Yeah, but you didn't satisfy Brooker's comments before you came here tonight.
We didn't.
Okay, so we don't give anything out without drainage, okay? And I'm not really sure why you're here, because you should all know this, all right? I've been doing this 13 years. I've seen you guys at least a dozen times. And I don't give out, we don't, as a board, give out approval for anything without drainage. So you're gonna have to ask for a continuance tonight. These people are gonna have to come back again, because we're not going to, they don't have all of their ducks in a row, basically what it means. So we're not going to give them any, they're not gonna get any kind of approval or disapproval tonight. So what I usually do, and I'll do it because the next time when you come, we'll save some time, and I'll read this stuff into the record tonight of what they're looking for and what they have to do. But you guys should know this, okay? You see, okay, what's on this agenda tonight, right?
Yes.
You have these people coming out tonight because you're here. And, you know, it's ridiculous, because it's a waste of time. I don't mind going through the applicants, and I don't mind putting up with everybody, but you know when you come here that you're not ready you're not ready. And you come anyway, and then we have to send you back. And just so you know, Mr. Kurland, that gentleman in the back that's walking around, I say the same thing to him. Don't come and waste this board's time, okay? Because that's what you're doing.
Understood. There is one thing that we did want to bring to the board's attention. It's only because it's an issue that keeps cropping up, and that has to do with the zoning designation. The tax map has this property zoned as R40, and it's incorrect, and it's been incorrect for some time. There was litigation dating back to the 80s, which was resolved by a decision in 1992 and a judgment entered in 1993, which essentially, which provided that the zoning regulations in effect as of July 85 rather, would control. And that notation has been on our site plan consistently, but notwithstanding that, throughout these processes, the issue keeps cropping up that the property is not in an LO zone, as we continue to state, but in an R40 zone. Finally, last week at the Project Review Committee meeting, we were provided with a copy of a memo from John Giardello to the Planning Board dated April 12th of this year, and it does, in our opinion, finally and fully put the matter to rest. I'm not sure if this is a part of our Planning Board file. It is? Okay, and if the board would indulge me, I would read the memo in.
Rob?
If you think it's necessary. I mean, I think Mr. Magrino has a copy of it as well.
Yeah, those letters from the 12th weren't read in because you asked for continuous.
Yes. So
Because you weren't ready, back then. Just to,
understood, and we
just to hammer the point about it again. So go ahead.
Thank you. Subject is Paragon Motors, Inc. site plan. It's a memo from John Giardello to Cheryl Cooper Smith, Chief Clerk, Planning Board, dated April 12, 2017. I'm just going to read number one. That's the only matter that this addresses. The question of the location of the zone district line for Bradley Corporate Park, Section 4, was brought up at the January 11, 2017 public hearing. Please be advised of the following, : the zone district line was shown on the town's 1980 zoning map as running parallel to the rear property line of the parcels on Lieber Road at 70 feet from these property lines and then turning 90 degrees north. The town's 1988 zoning map was changed to show the zone district line as bisecting the Bradley Corporate Park Section 4 property. The Supreme Court's decision filed on December 23, 1992, regarding Bradley Corporate Park Section 4 allowed certain, quote, vested rights, which included the zoning in effect at the time of the original approvals. Therefore, the zoning district line for this property is in accordance with the 1980 zoning map. Attached for your reference are a portion of the Bradley Corporate Park Section 4 map showing the zone district line location at the time of the original approvals, and a portion of the 1980 zoning map showing the zone district line location. And attached are those documents.
That it?
That's it.
Okay.
And we are asking for a continuance.
We'll get to that. Typically, when an application comes before us and they have to ask for continuance, I don't usually let the audience speak. But in this case, I'm going to indulge you at the right time. So anybody who has a comment about this, at least the best thing is that the applicant can hear what your concerns are, and when they come back and they're ready, hopefully the next time, they can at least have a response. So for those of you who've come out tonight and do have something to say, I'm going to let you say it when we get to that point. I'm going to read the comments that are in here. Again, just to streamline this from the next time they come in. Those of you who are speaking are going to do so in 3 minutes. That's what I'm going to allow you, and because we do have one more applicant after this to go through. So, that being said, first one is, well, I'm hoping, or anything that's in here that's doubled, I'll, so the first thing is the, what do we call them, the first one? It's not even, it doesn't even say anything, it just says continue. What is this, not the subdivision, what's the other? Site plan. Oh, I'm sorry, it's there. Okay, site plan. Okay, Rick Oliver's comments, number 5, including 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 from the January 11, 2017 meeting. Again, all of these comments are pretty technical. They're available to anybody who wants to read them in the back. I will also make my copy available to anybody who wants to take it home. Bruce Peters has 21 comments. Brooker, again, has 11 comments, but they do not recommend drainage.
Insufficient information.
Because they say that there's insufficient information. And then, are we going through this because I didn't read the rest of them in? I have to read April's reading? Okay, so then. Okay, so but the April meetings, if there's letters from different people, I'm assuming that they override each other, right? So, for an instance, Giardello's letter is overridden by Mr. Oliver's letter now, is that correct?
Well, not overridden, but
Not, I'm sorry, but all
updated.
updated. Okay, and and the same thing with Bruce Peters. Okay, and Brooker's. Okay. There's a memo in here from Michael Bettman from April 5th, 2017. He has 9 comments. And then everything else was read into the record. Okay. So then let's go to the subdivision. Bruce Peters has 1. Rockland County Highway, no objections. Rockland County Health, none. Rockland County Sewer says that they're number 2. It says the district does not object to the lot line change shown. However, our previous correspondence dated April 8, 2016 regarding the Paragon Motor site plan shall still apply. And that letter is here. And they have 12 comments. And that's all I have. Okay. So, I'll give you guys a chance. Do you want to say anything, Mr. Young?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Dell?
I might have some things to say, but I would like to see construction drawings. What I'm seeing right now tells me very little. The drainage is obviously important. I believe in this area, the sandstone is fairly shallow, so that might influence quite a few things. I would like to see lines of sight from the contiguous property owners, what exactly they're gonna see, how tall your building is, where it's gonna sit, all of those wonderful things that we should be able to look at. But right now, I have nothing to look at, so I really can't comment on anything. You may have the world's best plan, or you may have something not quite to that standard, but I won't be able to tell until I see it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Bond?
I have no comments at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Mr. Mandel?
Just concur with what Mr. Dell just said. I agree with him.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mandel. Okay, so, at this time, I'm going to allow the public to speak, anybody who wants to. Again, I'm going to limit, what you have to say to 3 minutes, but please come up. I'll recognize the gentleman in the yellow shirt first. Can you please state your name and your address for the record?
Yes, my name is Peter Wade, that's W-A-D-E. I'm a member of the Religious Society of Friends that borders this property at 60 Lieber Road. I'm on the ministry council there. In Brooker's engineering letter, at the bottom, paragraph on the first page, it says the emergency access road to Lieber Road was removed from the last application we reviewed, but has been added for this submission. I would like to point out that on the drawings that they have submitted here, they are now talking about a 50-foot wide emergency access road that is paved with concrete curbs, double gated. I see no use as for emergency access. This is a major development, industrial park. They have access through Route 303 at 2 locations with lights. Their emergency services are not going to come through Libra Road, which is a small residential street. They're going to come in the fastest way possible. And this road, emergency access, really is just, our view is that they're going to use this to move cars in and out onto that road, which is a small residential R40 road. And it's inappropriate. I do not think that if you speak to the rescue services that they would even consider using this access. Plus, it's double gated that they're proposing. They're not going to have keys nor the time to fiddle around getting in there. I think that this should be totally eliminated from their proposal. In addition, our property also borders their property, and we're very concerned about drainage because it's certainly going to impact our property. And we ask that you take a very careful look at what the drainage will be, as well as the impact of the lighting on our property. We have a meditative religious society, and this is not conducive to that nature of religion at that location. I appreciate your concern and that you reject this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, yes, sir, in the back.
Dimitri Temidis, 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 66 Lieber Road.
So 64.
66. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Chairman. Letter from Mr. Joseph Lafayette of Rockland County Sewer District Number 1 dated December 8th, 2016, referred to Planning Board Decision 8732 of the Bluebird Acres Subdivision Tax Lot 70.06-1-50. It states the district's record for the easement through the subject property, including Planning Board Decision 8732 and the Bluebird Acre properties of said lot, states a covenant is required restricting the remainder of the R40 Beale Road or 64 Lieber Road and property to the north of Franco and Vanderbeek from ever being developed as a lot. And all this property must be included in the proposed sanitary sewer easement. I object to the current plan showing the emergency access road. I respectfully request that it be removed from the plans. That road was never approved by the Rockland County Highway District. On this latest set of plans, it shows that the road will be concrete with concrete curbs on each side. Based on the previous conduct of the applicant, which includes ignoring stop work orders, the emergency access road will turn into a roadway with extremely large vehicle transport trucks using it as an entrance, putting all the residents at risk, a risk that has not previously existed, and adding to the detrimental effects of the watershed. If, as the gentleman referred to the property actually being changed, then how do they pay their taxes? Do they pay it as R40s or as light office? And that will determine if this has actually been put to rest. The current plans indicate Phase 2 and 3 and Storage Area 5. What exactly are Phase 2 and 3? What are the dimensions of the storage area and what is the proposed use for the storage area? There's nothing in the file explaining these phases. I respectfully request the following be included as part of the Paragon Motors site plan. Number 1, a viable plan to protect the watershed from long-lasting effects of pollution from trucks and other vehicles and anything affecting the environment. Number 2, a sufficient sound barrier protecting all the residential lots on Lieber Road with Lieber Road addresses from the horrendous noise pollution created by the applicant by illegally cutting down all the trees on the said tax lot in 2010. Number 3, a minimum of 200-foot undisturbed buffer zone from all residential lots with Lieber Road addresses extending 200 feet north from each property line. Number 4, installation of a permanent berm tall enough to be effective and maintained by the applicant, which the current berm is insufficient. Number 5, vegetative screening with green giant arborvitaes to be installed and maintained by the applicant. Number 6, a viable lighting plan to protect all the residents and houses on both sides of Lieber Road. Winning a lawsuit against the town does not give the applicant the right to show such arrogance as to render this board irrelevant. Is the applicant allowed to act on his own assumptions? Should he be allowed the audacity to make his own rezoning decisions? I respectfully request that this board fulfill its fiduciary responsibility to all of its residents and make the best possible decision for all the residents and not just one applicant who has a history of disregarding town codes and stop work orders, shows arrogance, and consistently positions himself above the law. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, next. Come on up.
Hello, Ron Shapiro, Shapiro, 100 Lieber Road. So I was hoping to suggest that the project be, with regard to the R40 zoning and whether it's R40 or LO, that the project be considered an R40 zoning until the town officially updates its maps to LO, if it is truly an LO zone, not to move the project forward, assuming it's LO, until the town officially updates its maps. The website, not that the website having the most official documents, but the website having the latest zoning map of 2011 reflects the R40 zoning, and that should be the zoning that decisions are made until it's formally updated or wherever that formal document to be. The documents that were put into official record, one being from the chief fire inspector, indicates the double gating, and one of the many comments regarding having key boxes on the double gates. I think that the key boxes would end up slowing down the process of having fire department access or EMS access. I think that the gates are necessary to be able to stop the applicant from using the roadway, as they probably will end up using it for regular access. So my recommendation is to remove the access road from the program because it will end up being used for regular access. The applicant has ended up changing the way that they use stuff over time, as they have with the berm that the last time I was at one of these, where they ended up putting a berm up across the Lieber Road, parallel to Lieber Road, behind the Lieber Road properties. They said that they were going to put a berm up, they were going to put trees on the berm, the trees were going to be wonderful. Of course, there are no trees, there's never been trees. The berm, when it was being discussed, and I brought up during being up here at a podium, saying that it was going to lead to flooding on the residential side, because of course the civil plans and the contour map showed that there was going to be flooding. Of course, the civil engineer at the time poo-pooed it and said, of course, there wasn't going to be. And of course, ever since the berm is there, there's plenty of flooding right up to where my shed is, where my mower sits. And so it's important that it be recognized that the applicant continually does different than what they say. And so it's important that we need to protect the residences in this case, because they've just proven themselves time and time and again to not necessarily do what they say.
That's about it.
I'm sorry. One.
That's about it. Thank you.
Geotech report, sorry. Be sure to ask for a geotech report over the sewer easement.
Next. Come on up.
Hi, Dan Fuller, F-U-L-L-E-R, 120 Lieber Road. I have a couple comments and to follow up. My biggest concern, our biggest concern, is the noise pollution that Dimitri was referring to. Currently, and I think there's some sort of litigation, so I actually have questions. I don't know if it's pertinent at this point, but they've been parking cars behind that berm for a very long time now. And we've been dealing with the noise from that parking lot. The only way they can find cars is by setting alarms off. So 7 a.m. in the morning, Saturday morning, and I believe it's 7 days a week, 7 a.m. in the morning, alarms start going off so they can find cars. As we're sitting on our deck having coffee, we have to listen to car alarms all day long. So I think it's unacceptable, and I'd like to know what the town is doing about their cease and desist for parking. Is that pertinent in this case?
My understanding is, I believe they're in court, right? Aren't you in justice court over that?
Yes.
Again, much like the other one.
That's what I hear.
Right, they're in court. They're required to come here. As the board's pointed out, it's taken some time, but that's why it delays. The court process gets delayed. This is delayed. So to answer your question, it is in court, and I'm not prosecuting the matter, but presumably they said, go to the planning board, straighten it out, and that's why they're here.
Okay, so my comment is, and I'll follow up with Ron Shapiro's point, they're doing what they want, and they're not listening to anything that the town is suggesting. I think it was cease and desist for not parking cars, but they have not changed a thing. And it truly is affecting the homeowners on Lieber Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so, go ahead, come on up.
I'm Patricia Vanderbeek, 74 Lieber Road. I think they've expressed most of my comments, and I've been listening to the cars. Plus, there's a building there right now with bright lights. When the leaves are off the trees, the shining comes this way. I can't even see out in my own backyard. So hopefully we won't get this building. It's so close to our property lines that, I mean, I could probably do garden work at night with the lights that shine there. And I still use my well. So there, in this plan, I saw a fuel station. So we're gonna have gas and oil all so close to our property lines. So I'm just following up with my fellow neighbors that this shouldn't be there, and especially the concrete road, because you can't make a turn out on Lieber Road if they think they're gonna bring those transporters, bringing cars in there, which do beep. I mean, I heard cars beeping on Labor Day, and that's a holiday, so, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's get back to this road. Why are you building that road? Who requested the road?
Mike Bettman?
I thought Mike Bettman.
We wanted to keep it the way it was. He said, for emergency vehicles, he needs to be able to get a fire truck up there.
That's
Okay,
And he
but
needs
does
a
Michael
concrete roadway.
Bettman, that, like, he said that this is the way I wanna get onto the property? Because somebody's
think-
saying that they're never gonna use it, and I just let me
We've always said
indulge
we're
me for
never
2
gonna
minutes.
use it.
Because we fought this battle a long time ago on this board about this road, and we said, we don't want it.
Right, and I,
November 2010.
right,
Well,
I think
No,
on
no,
the,
no, let's go back before that, okay?
You're probably right.
There was one other application, one other thing that they did, that the property, the Bradley people did, and I wanna say that Mr. Brennan was there, but I might be mistaken. This is going back some time, and we talked about this road, and we said, there's no necessary.
well, I think that the issue was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe at one of the, for one of the approvals or projects, I'm not sure the existing condition, but it was, you know, it would be accessible, but it certainly wouldn't be a street, or it
We
wouldn't
talked
be.
about that, yes.
Right, it would be, you know, there'd be a gate there, and if in a real emergency, somebody had to get in, you know, they could get in. I think the reason Mr. Bettman's asking for it is because of the train. Because if the train is going through and something's going on there, you know, you have to wait for the train to finish. So, again, we're getting a continuance, so we could certainly ask Mr. Bettman.
Can you ask Mr.
And
Bettman
coordinate
to
with him.
qualify why he wants that road that
Right,
way?
and
Because we,
I'm sure it's over the railroad.
but wait a minute,
Why
because
needs to be that big? You know?
the other thing is that but there's an entrance from Western Highway, but it stops. There's no way to get, because that was part of the original building. There's no way to get from Western Highway to 303. There's not, right? Even across, no, listen to me, okay? Okay? You guys can come back in the 2 weeks. I'm talking, somebody else can correct me, but nobody in the audience is gonna correct me. Okay, so what's the story? Can you get from Western Highway to 303 down by Sullivan's Tree Care, I think it is, right? Isn't that the?
Site plan for Prestige goes all the way.
No, not Lieber, not Lieber Road. I'm talking about off of Western Highway. There's a
Right,
back
right,
entrance.
Right, the problem is, the only way to do that is by going through other tenants' property.
Right, but it's
So
not through the
it's not-
Bradley property.
No, Bradley's tenants'
Okay,
properties.
okay, you can, so you can get back and get over.
But you own the property?
Yes.
So what
So
about
then
across?
what's the story? So then let's, who cares if, the fire department doesn't care whose property it is, if it's Bradley's
They're
property?
gonna go running through there.
So, okay, listen,
I think it's something that the building department can check
can
with
you just check
Mr.
with Mike, you have to tell us.
Started out there, I believe that road was blocked, no, going through?
With the emergency
told you
access?
That's actually
No, this is
part,
what he's talking
Oh,
about, coming off
that-
of,
I think
that
it is.
area is part of the Prestige approved site plan for
Yeah.
parking. Not as a roadway, for parking, okay? That was done strictly for Mike Bettman, because at the time of building 15, which is Airco, and 16, and the Prestige building, the only access was across the rail, okay? So to satisfy him, we put the road in to get from Western Highway to these buildings, okay? We've got the emergency access road, which has been shown on here. Once that happens, the approved Prestige site plan, which had the parking going all the way over, okay, will be there.
Rick, you're
Is
gonna
there-
have to.
Hold on. When you keep saying Prestige, wasn't that for this exact spot?
No,
No.
No, it's a different, okay.
nope.
Prestige is not built.
Prestige has its own area to the
To the
north
south.
north of this.
And there's no intent to run vehicles or the trailers through that
Okay,
spot
but you know,
whatsoever.
with all due I mean, I can sit here and tell you guys, okay? We've been talking about this for years, and the neighbors have been saying the same thing, okay? You don't have a great track record of being believed, okay? That's the honest truth. So what I'm trying to get at, so that they know that at least we're doing our due diligence, is if Michael Bettman's asking for this, and Michael Bettman says it's gonna be locked, and he's the only one that's gonna have the keys, then so be it. Let's get a clarification from Michael Bettman that says that even, you know, if there's been changes to the site where he can get access both ways from Western Highway and or 303 and has access to all of the buildings that he needs to get to access to without using this emergency road, then let's try to put this to bed.
Right, and we've discussed this at Project Review. I think if they do a kind of a larger picture of the entire site, which includes that access,
Yeah,
that might alleviate,
Satisfy, yeah,
you know, and show Mike Bettman on a plan that emergency access road to Lieber is not,
necessary. And the other thing is
Blow up
that.
of that portion?
no, the entire thing, from, you know, 303 to Lieber to Western Highway, the whole site. With
And the-
where the roads are, where emergency access
And the
could
other
be.
thing is that we talked about the site lighting for years, okay? And the neighbors have been complaining about the site lighting. Don't you think it's time that we put, you know, motion sensors on, even if you put lights in that go, what everybody's doing now is they're putting in dimmable down to 25%, something where you can have your security that you need, and then if somebody's going in there nefariously, and it'll light up, that's fine. But I think it's time, and especially if you're coming back with a new building, that has some kind of lighting on it that doesn't blare into the middle of the night. I mean, it's lit up like Times Square. I live on Moisey, so I'm not on Lieber, but I am the next street over, which it's, you know, they actually run together. So I drive past the house, drive past the property, I don't know, 10 times a week, 20 times a week, who knows? So I think that that's something, and somebody had mentioned about, Mr. Dell, I believe it was, mentioned about the site plan, about the lighting plan and things like that. So when you come back, hopefully you have all your ducks in a row, and you can tell us about your lighting plan.
If I could just then comment
Oh,
also
yes,
on
okay, I just want to say one more thing.
zoning issue when you.
The zoning, is that what you're gonna say? Okay, so I'm gonna let Mr. Magrino, our attorney, talk about the zoning, because we're done with this, okay? And it's, I think that by what we read into the record tonight, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Whether or not the map is, you know, updated on the site or not. Yes, sir? No, I don't have to close it, because it doesn't matter. I can ask them, we're not, it's in like an open forum now, until I say so.
All right, just.
Go ahead, Mr.
I mean, the
Magrino.
board is aware, and I'm sure the neighbors are aware also, but lengthy history on this, a legal history. The decision to which Mr. Giardello referred and which the applicant referred to was dated December 23rd, 1992. And that was a Supreme Court decision from the Supreme Court here in Rockland County. And that basically said, based on everything that had transpired, they've proven elements to establish the existence of a vested right, quote unquote, in the building permit that they had obtained as of 1985. And I won't get into all the dates, but there are several cases, but then even the New York Court of Appeals, which is the highest level court in the state, in 1996, I'll just put in the record, 88 New York 2nd 41, they said, accordingly, the defendants, which is the applicant, are entitled to reinstatement of the building permit in conformity with the zoning regulations in effect at the time of the revocation. So some of the quotes, I will say, I was looking at this because it came up. Some of the quotes are not necessarily correct in terms of being exactly what the court said, but the gist of it is that, at least insofar as Building 15 is concerned, without a doubt, subject to interpretation, that building permit and everything went back to as it existed in July of 1985. That was John Giardello's interpretation. This is me reading the cases and saying that. John Giardello made a determination on April 12, 2017, which the applicant brought up, interpreting the decision to mean what, I believe what happened was in 1985, there was a certain zone. After 1985, but before 1992, the zoning was changed. In 1992, the court, and 96, court went back and said, go back to 85, that change, in I believe it was 87 or 88, not applicable, at least insofar as Building 15 is concerned. I'm sorry for going on, but the only thing I would say is April 12, 2017 interpretation by John Giardello is something that is subject to interpretation. Again, I'm not inviting litigation, but if somebody wanted to challenge that or have somebody look at it, that's certainly their prerogative, but that's a determination that's been made by the town, by John Giardello, that his interpretation is, because of what the court said, this project is zoned LO. So, you know, that's kind of where we are.
Okay.
And that's what the cases are saying. Again, in terms of, you know, somebody said, well, that's it. This is what John Giardello says. This is the way the town is proceeding. Obviously, anybody's free to challenge that if they wish.
Okay.
It's the entire site, section 4, and they gave us back.
Okay,
right
so,
on this piece of
I think that
property because we had to buy this to satisfy.
We've done this enough, so you can ask for your official continuance, and away we go.
Yes, respectfully requested that this matter be continued.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more up. Next up is PB number 16-59, Bless Enterprise Auto Shop Plan.
Building 15, everything has to do with Building 15, okay? So,
Does it say section 4 site plan anywhere in there? The Judge Stoller's decision, which this upheld, doesn't say section 4 anywhere in there?
This is not here, right?
Okay, so if you guys want to, okay, I have one more.
Were you referring to me as the walking gentleman in back?
I was.
I wasn't sure.
I used the term, yes. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Well, to start off, we're not happy what's taking place here. You're not happy. We are not happy. My client has a pre-existing use which existed as far back as 1952 When this gas station was across the street from the Orangeburg manufacturing, they ran a gas station, they ran a repair shop, they ran everything that we're talking about prior to zoning. Okay, now all of a sudden, the town is coming along and saying, well, he's repairing cars outside, which he's always been doing. So my client's coming along and he's saying, you know what? I'm gonna build a building there, I won't repair cars outside anymore. That's what he's trying to do. He also made an agreement when we
So why are
laid
you
it
getting
out.
upset? I mean, it's okay,
Pardon me?
what's the problem?
The
Just tell us
problem
what you're
is,
doing.
the problem is that we keep getting criticized, you're not losing the overlay zone, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and that's not true. I don't have approvals here because everybody's throwing left hooks at the man just wants to run his operation and fix it up, and nobody's letting him do it. We're gonna have to ask for continuation because we don't have drainage approval or whatever you call it. And then we go back to the court, we run into the same problem with the court, saying, we're really not in violation, we're trying to correct the thing, and it's just not working. I don't know what to do anymore. He wants to build an extension to the building so he can put the outside repair in there. He wants to limit his parking to 21 cars, which they're saying they're gonna allow him to do it. And we get nowhere. And I have to ask for the extension because I never get to a point where where you can legitimately give me preliminary.
Isn't the issue that he has an outside lift?
Yes,
And
yeah.
it needs to be enclosed. I mean.
Which he's trying to do, but the outside lift was.
With those in Pearl River, they've been stopped. You had the Citgo station, you had Pearl River Automotive. They built buildings.
It's been there for years, and he wants to put a building up.
So I don't know what doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal.
I mean, it's
I
not
would
where he
agree
says
with
he's not gonna do it, he says, I will put it up.
So Rob, what do you wanna do? What are we gonna do for the gentleman? I don't know. I gotta follow the
I
rules.
think part of the problem is that the condition still exists. Are there still cars there?
Yes, there are,
Get rid of the cars.
but that's not fair, why?
Not all of them, but I mean.
No, we're talking about overnight parking. Mr. Giardello and I, we agreed that we set it up that he's permitted to have 21 parking spaces. I believe after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock when he closes, there's no more than 21 cars there.
I wrote in February 22nd, 2017, the board wanted an updated plan. I
Yes.
don't know, is there an updated plan?
Yes, we gave you one.
Remove spots 2 to 5, which is not done. Provide a narrative, you know.
Well, we
so-
gave you the narrative.
I thought,
There's still
I thought last time you were here, didn't we talk about eliminating a couple spots?
Right, you're supposed to eliminate spots
And then
2 to
move- and
5,
Moving forward with it.
and they're still on there.
Right.
That's not the board's fault, that's not the court's fault.
You still have a trailer there,
But you-
container there, a boat there.
But Rob, I mean, in terms of service stations in general, there's been other places in town that have enclosed their lift, built a nice building, and you can ride by there now, and you'll see every inch of the property filled with vehicles.
And they should get
And
a
it's okay.
violation.
No,
Then they should get a violation.
No, I
If
mean,
they're a violation of site
it's-
plan, they should get a
I mean,
violation.
I'll take you to one right now, if you wanna see it.
Well, I
You
don't
know,
issue the
mean, it's-
violations, but you can show the building department.
Okay.
And these are trucks, these are all
Well,
trucks.
I mean, why, you know, you have drainage, I guess what you're indicating is because of county planning's concerns?
Not only that, but you say eliminate 2 to 5. Why does this gentleman have to eliminate 2 to 5? They are legitimate parking places. Why does he have to eliminate it?
I don't have it in front of me, I believe
I
those are
have it
front
in
on
front of me.
303, right?
Yeah, I think.
So
that
why,
was-
so
But
the
they
board
were-
is saying as a you're here for site plan. The board is saying for site plan, remove those 3 spots, or 4 spots.
We were
whatever
trying
it
to
is.
make it comply in some form to the.
It's 4
overlay
spots.
zone, If I remember correctly, is how that came,
But then he
I thought we were working in the right direction at the last
Okay,
meeting.
but if he takes away 2 through 5, he's losing 4 parking spaces. Where's he gonna put them?
Yeah, but you said, we talked
said
about
you were
this,
gonna
and you
do
said,
it.
okay. You didn't fight us the last time. I mean, come on, Don, this is, you know, we're not, don't come up here and think that, we would love to help, but don't, like what Rob said, you know, don't come up here.
If you,
You agreed.
If you are requesting that we remove 2 through 5, I will have them removed.
That's what you said.
Yes, I will do
I
that.
thought, it's
You're
coming back to
right.
me now. I thought that's what we were, the way we were leading anyway, not that we.
cars parked north to south in slot 7 right now. You can easily fit 4 cars going in that way.
No, we took the hot store,
6 and 7,
yeah.
you can fit them north to south.
Yeah, but if they're just there during the day, I mean, if you move them around,
Last night.
Or at least 3.
people are picking them up, you know?
it's south.
They're parking, right,
Right now, it's east to west.
right now they're east to west.
I was thinking about the actual location.
All right, so how about I read the comments and then we go on from there?
Yes, why don't we do that?
Okay, from Rick Oliver, he has one. See previous comments from John Giardella dated February 22nd, 2017, items 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and 9. Brooker Engineering says that they're okay, subject to the 12 conditions. Rockland County Planning has 16.
Well, that's where I need overrides, gentlemen.
Which ones do we need to override?
Well, should we start reading them?
I'm not reading them. You're supposed to read them and tell me which ones you want overridden.
I just got thrown at me right now, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we don't care about 1. Then we don't care about 2 because we are satisfied.
Well,
We gotta
one,
override the
let me
disapproval.
just say, 1 is, it's not even 1, it's disapproval is the first page.
Right.
But that doesn't
The
mean,
board's deal, right, no, I understand, I'm just saying, the board has to deal with that.
We have to
The
deal with
rest
it?
are in the event that you, well, override if you're gonna approve.
oh, we have to override the disapproval?
Yes.
I thought we
Right.
just had to override their, we don't, that's up to them to say.
The recommendations on the site plan are recommendations.
So they're saying
the way they wrote
basically,
it.
if we override the disapproval, here's some of the things that you
Absolutely.
should
Right.
concern
Correct.
yourself with.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay,
so
I
that's
have no
fine.
problem with 1, I have 2 we cannot do. We cannot do with the overlay zone, it's total nonsense, okay? I don't even know why we have one in this area.
What's he saying?
I have no problem
He
with
doesn't know why there's a
4.
303
I don't know why
overlay
we have
zone.
an overlay zone in this area.
Pardon me?
It's called civic improvement.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
whatever.
No, I think
there's a thing called pre-existing, you know?
I'm already in trouble because
Okay, I mean, they're putting in things like number 8. He's been there prior to zoning, all right? Right. So we have to override number 8, we have to override,
How about tet 9? Do we need a lighting plan?
I will give them a lighting plan, they're entitled to that.
Okay,
They're entitled to 10,
okay,
they're entitled to 11.
it's already done.
Right,
Number 12 is done.
yes.
What about 6? 6 they can't do, right? Because you can't meet the 25-foot.
Can't do it.
Yeah, so 6 has to be overridden, right? Stormwater management, number 7, that's okay?
I don't have a problem, we have to do that.
Yeah,
What
they
was
have-
In
John-
fact, we added approval, we have drainage approval.
What were John's comments with respect to, automotive repair is prohibited, but it's pre-existing non-conforming.
Right.
But the existing building's 1190 square feet, the proposed addition is 593.
I have to go to
You'd
the,
require a variance.
yes, I have to go to the zoning board, but I need preliminary from you people
Understand,
for me to
okay.
go to the zoning board.
All right.
Okay, so is that it for planning?
Well, if you give me preliminary tonight, I'll be very happy to go to the zoning board and carry through.
Rockland County Health? Nothing. And then everything else was read into the record, Cheryl? Alrighty
I
then.
mean, many of the comments have been a proper site plan. I don't know that you did a full,
No, we did a full site plan.
well,
Mr. Young?
Come back to me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Dell?
Yes, I remember when this used to be Aldo's. And
Right.
a few other people before that, and I certainly understand the applicant's situation. But we all have to realize that there's been a substantial amount of gentrification since the 1960s. I think the 2, 3, 4, and 5 slots can easily be eliminated. As Mr. Young was saying, they could be done parallel to Route 303, where you have the 6, 7, and 8 slots. At least they should be able to get them in there.
I will
The
do that.
question I have now is on like slot 6. I don't know what you could put in there other than a motorcycle. It's 13 feet, maybe a little VW Bug, but you may want to take a look at that.
Okay.
The other thing that I was looking at here, obviously, traditional drainage wouldn't make much sense here. I think you could obviously put in some sort of oil separator, because you are next to the Spark Hill Creek. And other than that, I think, oh, that's the other thing. Where's your dumpster gonna go?
I think he showed the dumpster at,
I didn't see it, maybe I missed it.
bear with me 1 second, please.
Number 7, parking space number 7.
Yeah, number 6, I think.
No, where the motorcycle was gonna go.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it.
I thought I saw a dumpster.
You may want to consider looking at it a little more carefully.
Okay, we'll put dumpster, in other words, if we're taking one out, we'll move the handicap over and we'll put the dumpster in that area.
Where what? Where 1 is?
Pretty much so.
So you could put it right on 303?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna put the handicap closer and I'll put the
On
dumpster
303.
closer to the building.
All right, well, being a handicapped person, certainly look forward to walking by the dumpster.
Wow.
You're not going.
Or however I get by it.
I'll put
All right,
it-
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Brenner. I think you have a very difficult site. I think, you know, the applicant obviously has a right to have a great business, but also too, the area's changed, and it would probably behoove him to have a better site in the ways that we're suggesting. The new, if you're gonna get rid of 2, 3, 4, and 5, then you could obviously increase the width of that little island about 3 feet or so. And then you'll have a little bit more room to give him the type of front that I think he could be a little bit more proud of than what you're showing here.
Well, we have some plantings, but we could increase the plantings.
You increase the width, you could have maybe rise it up a couple feet like other people have done. I mean, there's wonderful possibilities. It could become a really nice addition to Route 303, rather than the continuation of what some people refer to as an eyesore. And I don't think that gentleman is out to do that. Other than that, I wish you luck on the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
And
Young,
don't
you
forget,
ready?
it's here because of the overutilization of the site. It's not, you know.
Well, you already took 4, we agreed on 21, there will not be.
No, I understand, but that's why it's here. It's not,
Right.
you know.
Go ahead, Mr. Young.
I'm not going to pile on. I mean, the parking spots are an issue. The overlay zone has always been there. You obviously have a great business. Judging by the amount of cars I see there,
And these are local people.
I understand that, I appreciate that, but that's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Young. And you're getting picked up on the microphone, so just be careful.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Bond.
I'm okay with eliminating
I'm a
those
local
parking
person.
spaces we talked about,
Yes.
and increasing that little island there, and throw a little more landscaping in. And
Are you listening, Mr. Brenner?
Yes, I
It
do,
would dress the site up.
which I'll do, just let me
And,
go to the zoning board and
yeah.
get it moving.
And
So then, are we?
the projects I was talking about earlier in Pearl River, where they haven't closed, they all look nice, and they, even though sometimes they have way too many cars on them, but they look
still
good.
look nice.
They enhance the area, and they look nice.
Awesome.
And they did try and put some landscaping in front of them and things of that
I
nature,
know,
so.
it's client of mine,
okay.
did a very nice job.
Yeah.
Mr. Mandel?
Yeah, I concur with Mr. Dell. There'll be, you have a boat on there that's sitting there, and it's been sitting there since previous time. There's a trailer for a boat sitting on there that's been there since the previous time. There's one van, a car there that's it's filled with all sorts of miscellaneous material. It's a storage bin, and you have a container there that you're using for storage. Those things should be removed right off the bat. That would give you more parking space.
I would remove that.
Yeah, we brought that up last time, the same thing. Last time I think there were less vehicles when I counted it up. I know you have vehicles there that you're working on. There's 14 there without plates. But if you remove the trailer, the boat, the container, and that other vehicle that looks like a dumpster just about, that would make a lot more room.
Yeah, the container, we use it for the storage.
Yeah.
And you're not,
We had a
so you
road.
won't need the container when you make the building bigger?
We're not gonna need that, because we're gonna be able to put that inside.
But the boat's gotta
It's a
go.
catch-22.
The boat, we're
Yeah,
gonna remove
but
the boat.
they
Okay,
can
so get rid of the boat.
get rid of the
trailer.
boat
I
and the
will.
trailer.
I will.
And that one vehicle that's, looks like a container, garbage container right now.
Okay.
We talked about when we went down, there's all
Yes.
sorts of stuff in it.
Mhm.
That's the one you use for
Okay, so the
storage,
thing
right?
is that
No,
before you
no,
come back and
that's
get
a-
preliminary
it's a
tonight,
container.
before you come back for final, make sure it's gone. Because they're gonna go check, and if it's not gone, you're not getting final.
Right.
Okay?
Will be
Is that
removed.
fair? Mr.
Yeah,
Mandel?
that's fine.
We remove it.
Mr. Dell? Mr. Young?
I'm good with that.
Mr. Bond?
As long as the boat's going on.
As long as the boat's going.
And the trailer, the boat trailer.
Yeah, come on, all right, let's try to keep it in the direction where we're at. Okay, so, thank you, gentlemen. Is there anybody in the audience? Would you like to speak? No. Okay, so I don't see anybody that wishes to speak to this application. I need a motion. Mr. Bond makes the motion to close.
Second.
Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, I need a motion for
Neg-
lead agency.
Motion.
Mr. Mandel makes the motion for lead agency. Mr. Bond seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion for neg deck. Mr. Bond makes the motion. Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
And I need a motion for preliminary with conditions. Mr. Bond makes the motion. We have, John Giardella's, well, Mr. Oliver's referring to John Giardella's 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9 from February 22nd, 2017. We have Brooker's 12. We have Rockland County, we need to override the disapproval. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bond, I need a second.
Override the disapproval.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Young, seconds, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, we
What's the
need to,
basis?
what's that?
You're
Because
overriding
we
it.
feel that the applicant has made significant, progress in,
You got too many letters tonight for disapproval.
Well, well, that could be one reason, but I think also the disapproval is based upon that he's overutilizing the site, so
Yes.
you're approving this with
to
a
get him so he
a
can
set
utilize.
amount of cars that are allowed to be parked there,
And that we are further reducing it.
right, and under certain conditions.
Right. So can you just write that instead of this,
Yeah.
Cheryl, please? So we need
We
to
got a system.
override number 6.
I'll make a motion over number 6.
Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Young, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thought he was doing that. The plantings.
You just said, well, you said 6. You said
Because
it
it's-
was
I have
wrong.
it circled.
I thought it was the one you were talking about.
No,
I
we're
thought it was what you were
overriding
talking about.
2,
No, not
overriding
6.
5, we're overriding
No,
7.
no.
Okay, sorry.
The 6.
Hold
Not
it,
number
hold
6.
No.
I have 6 circled.
Not 2.
Right. I have 6 and 8 circled.
Well, we are overriding 6 because we're just instituting.
It is a
the
buffer,
landscaping
but
that we're
not
required. What we're
Right,
required,
yeah,
because
we're
you can't-
required in
you can't really
landscaping,
meet
right.
landscaping, but not a 25-foot buffer.
Right.
Right. That's why
Fine.
we're, okay? I need a motion to override number 8.
I'll make a motion over number
Need a second?
I'll give you a second.
Mr. Dell, seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
And that is because the town is determining whether or not the requirements are being met. That's why they're here. And that's why we overrode the disapproval. Are we, is that it?
And there are other businesses that have done stuff like this in town already that have been approved.
We have prior approvals,
We've done this with prior service
and we're
stations.
trying to get the site to move a little bit more.
So, just so we're clear, I mean, is the board saying that whatever parking or whatever can only be in those designated spots?
Overnight, that's
Overnight.
Right,
Overnight.
Right.
right,
Yes.
and work to be done inside the garage.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay, that's what the concern is.
And also, what
Work
did we
being
say?
done
And
outside the
also
garage
before-
and overnight parking of more than, you
21.
know. Okay.
21 spots. And then the other thing is that before they come back for final, the boat trailer will be removed. The car with all of the storage in it will be removed. And that's it.
Changes to the plan that we asked for.
And all the changes that Mr. Dell asked for. Come
Right.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
gentlemen.
wait, I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Young, seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Do you have minutes?
Oh, wait, we're not done. We need to go to executive session.
Wait, I think there was also
That's
other
all.
business of clarification on Linen Choice,
Yeah, what's that?
condition number 10.
Okay, if you remember correctly, when we had Leonard Choice here before, and you gave us preliminary approval and told us to go to the zoning board. One of the things you told us to go to the zoning board, we asked, the planning board had the right to override the fact of having parking of the trucks inside the building or outside the building. The board turned around and said, we don't want to get involved in this, let the zoning board take care of it. If I remember correctly, that's
Right.
exactly what happened. okay? It was written up in the minutes that the planning board said, we don't want you to override a zoning board, and I think that's improper.
Well, it says the planning board recommends to the ZBA that the loading berths be enclosed within the
Closed.
building.
That's what we said.
Yeah,
I thought you said you didn't wanna
Oh,
handle
no,
it.
no. We said that we didn't want to handle it, but it's, we said that we'll give you a chance to go to the zoning board to have it overridden.
Right.
But we didn't,
But we didn't, I didn't, why
well, you
would-
know what, you're gonna have to get the transcripts then, I don't, that's.
Because you've never made recommendations like that on any other thing. You really haven't. I'm not trying to be difficult.
Well, you are being difficult because just because we didn't do it before doesn't mean that we can't do it now. There's not a precedence thing here. The fact of the matter is that we had a whole bunch of neighbors that were there and you can.
That they be enclosed within the building. Was your recommendation?
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I don't remember it, that's all. I don't
It was only a
remember.
recommendation. We made, right, we said we're not gonna make the decision.
I seem to be saying, no, we're not gonna make, we had enough that
I
this
mean-
night, and we're not gonna make a decision.
We didn't, we just made a recommendation. Before we made a decision, we made a recommendation.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I thought what we said was that the code called for that.
Yes.
If he wanted to seek relief, he could go.
Correct.
That's exactly what we
That's
said.
the
I
language,
have
that's
no
the
problem
language,
with
that was
that,
language, that was the language.
But the way it was written up is that you are
That-
recommending
that was the
zoning
language.
board don't do it.
No,
That's
the
the
language was that.
No. What Mr. Bond said was exactly correct. Right, if you want relief, go to the zone, we said we're not gonna get involved in it.
That's correct, that's what I remember.
The code
I don't wanna
calls
put-
for it.
I'm not putting anybody, I don't wanna put words in anybody's mouth, I just wanna make sure we're all in agreement.
He could seek a variance with the ZBA, that was
Yes.
basically what we said.
That's what we're saying.
Okay, I don't
Is
have a
that,
problem with
okay,
that.
is that it? Okay.
So how do you want to change the number 10? Planning board recommends that the zoning board of appeals make a determination with respect to
Enclosed,
enclosed
docks.
loading berths.
Right.
Right. Okay.
I don't know, if that's what the board,
Well, yeah, whether it wants to grant a variance.
Or not. So I need a motion to make that change.
Motion.
Mr. Mandel, second.
Second.
Mr. Young, second. All in favor?
Okay, I have one other problem. I was not at this particular meeting, I was away that night because my sister died that night. There were two drawings as related to Cove on Route 303 and Erie Street. One showed the door to the back. And I have both drawings if you want to see it. There is a discrepancy there. One showed the drawings, a drawer to the back, one did not show a drawing to the back. I would like to clean it up. I'm asking permission to come forward at your next meeting and to show the difference and get the right to put that door in the back.
The back is where the railroad tracks are, right?
That's correct. I have the drawings if you want to see it. And you were supposed to have seen it, but it just got through. It was not, it was approved without the door, and they would like to have the door.
Okay, so come back.
Okay, so
Right,
I'd like
and
to be
I
at the next meeting.
indicated that it should certainly be reviewed by the building department, and it should be properly noticed so that neighbors can come if they want.
Right, okay, all right.
Nobody came from the neighborhood the last time. And
No,
I
I
know,
think-
because I'm in that,
I
so
think it's
now I'm
gonna
being
be a
sandwiched
benefit. I
between
think
Bill
it's gonna be a
Kolb and
benefit.
Bradley.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
No, I actually, yeah, I mean, I think everybody in my neighborhood's in agreement that it's gonna be it's gonna be nice. So I'm not that concerned about it.
And
Okay,
again,
so
I
I
mentioned-
need a motion to go into,
We have minutes?
we have minutes, Cheryl? July? No minutes. Okay, so I need a motion to, we're gonna go into executive session, and then, once we come out of executive session, we're not going to hold any other business, and we're going to adjourn. So, I found out from my Board of Trustees meeting that we're allowed to do this, so you guys can leave. That's fine.
No, you can't.
Mr. Mandel will not be attending the second part of the, just so it's right, he will recuse himself from the Hillside discussion. He will be there for the Analytech discussion.
And the reason we're going into executive session is to discuss legal matters.
Well, I was gonna say, two pending lawsuits that the,
Two pending
that
lawsuits,
the
right.
planning board's involved in, and you just identified them, so
Can we hold it right here?
No, because we're on camera, I'm not doing it here.
you're on TV.
Camera's off.
Huh?
I said, no, you're on TV, that's not
Right.
executive session.
That's why executive session. Okay, so I need a motion for adjournment. once we come back, Mr. Mandel? Mr. Young seconds, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.